2 paybacks in a row. It's been less than exciting.
Yeah.
Then again, I think Payback kind of does play the role of play a nice role of like, hey, WrestleMania, now let's get back to the grind, and that's pretty much this pay-per-view in a nutshell. It was
just a nothing of a pay-per-view.
It was a grind, just in kind of how do I put it? It's basically working its way up to like the exciting pay-per-views like Money in the Bank and Extreme Rules.
Yeah, this is very much one of those pay-per-views that feels much more just like a Monday or Tuesday night show, and not even a great one at that.
Yeah, I hate
to say.
I think pretty much every single match on the card, save for maybe the last one, you could have seen on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah, it's like the booking was okay.
Surprise booking, yes.
It was okay.
I mean, the booking, I think pretty much everyone who should have gone over did go over. So.
Yeah, like I mean,
that's.
I got my wishes as far as who won the matches and everything, but not so much for the matches themselves.
Oh yeah,
everybody really seemed like they were wrestling like in the Alps or something. It was like they had no. It's like they had no oxygen to breathe or something, like high altitude.
Yeah, I always find that the pay-per-views that don't typically have like a gimmick are always kind of working uphill. Yeah. Like, say what you will about like Extreme Rules and Money in the Bank. At least they have like a set gimmick that usually holds the whole pay-per-view together, like the Money in the Bank ladder match, or the Royal Rumble with the main attraction match, Survivor Series. You got those, like those elimination matches, Elimination Chamber, exactly. But when you get into like your backlashes, your battlegrounds, your paybacks, your fast lanes, where there really isn't much in the way of actual like this is what makes this special. You're just kind of going over the same old ground. Now, that is to say, there's room for surprise. I mean, like, who would have thought that Battleground would have been the runaway greatest pay-per-view of last year? I mean, especially after that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens match. But
well, that's just.
I mean, like anyone who knows those two know that they can put on a good match. But who knew that they were going to put on like an actual barnstormer
like
of a
match. Shakespearean level match.
Exactly.
That was beautiful.
So like you watch these pay-per-views to get moments like that, but here, this is just kind of like a grim reminder of why. After WrestleMania is kind of slim pickings up until SummerSlam rolls around. Or at the very least until Extreme Rules and Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Now that we're dealing with, 17 pay-per-views a year instead of the traditional 12. But right now we just want to summarize our feelings of Payback as being, and, well, we got that done.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, it didn't, like, upset us or anything too much. It just, there's nothing to really be angry about. Just
its failing is that it should have mattered more to us than it did.
Like, how much notes did you really even manage to get on this?
Like, not very many.
You actually got more than a page.
Yeah, like I managed to find a few things of noteworthiness.
All right. Well, I mean, admirable job there.
I'll play spoiler for all of you. The last match on the card had exactly 2 notes, and I think I was being generous with that, but crapola. Anyway, but gift time it is. Or do you want to go first?
I'm gonna go first.
All right.
Nothing incredible, but I wanted to get something, and maybe not quite so plain, but. It's in honor of a certain person who retired lately, I wanted to symbolize the occasion.
Oh no.
Kind of a nod.
What in the world?
It's The Undertaker, right?
What the? It's Superstar Undertaker, but I don't think Undertaker ever went to the ring in khaki shorts. I mean, I could be wrong.
I don't know what you're talking about. It says The Undertaker on the packaging.
I think you actually gave me a collector's item. I think this is...
I know. I did. If I understand, mispackaged stuff can actually...
Yeah, this is a mispackaged John Cena. Holy crap. This is...
Like I said, it's not that lame.
It really isn't that lame. I'm actually kind of ashamed that you actually got me an actual kind of thoughtful, cool gift.
I know. It really is a shame that you have to give me something.
I know so. This is your long-term game. You're actually giving me thoughtful, weird gifts, and so that way I look like the asshole when I give you stuff that I know you'll hate. Cunning move, but it will not come to your advantage.
I see you appreciate it.
I appreciate like the weirdness of it, but it's time for me to bring down the house. There you are. Oh, this is...
Oh, I knew this was coming. It's only a matter of time.
Nope, that's it. That's
I always have just a little bit of smack of hope.
No. So go on. Show the people what I got you.
You got me the Rey Mysterio mask.
So try it on.
Oops, I'm sorry, I ripped it. I don't know what I'm gonna do now.
Like
That's really a tragedy. This is actually not like a terrible one either.
No. Oh wow, this is really, really terrible.
Okay.
Now you got the Booyaka 619.
Shit! I can't even fasten it.
Oh, come on! You almost got it.
Must do it.
I don't.
For me, familia. Come on. I can't do it.
All right, you're gonna have to fighter pilot. You're just gonna have to have the straps loose. But it's definitely becoming of you, I would think. I mean, at least it matches your shirt.
At least I'm wearing blue.
Yeah. When I saw you coming into my house with the blue shirt on, I'm thinking the universe aligned in my favor this month, or at least today.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of slimming, I guess. I'll make a bad luchador. If I'm saying myself. Not bad.
Yeah, yes. Why don't you wear more bags over your face? So, in the tradition of
man, that is tight. Oh my god, that is horrible. Oh.
It might have been able to fit your head better if you didn't wear the bandana.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually.
But I know. I think it might be like a haunted mask situation where you put it on, you can't take it off, and you're frightening little children away from you. I'm Carly Beth.
I must find a new person to wear the mask.
This is
Nobody
Carly
cared
Beth.
about
This
me
is
until
me.
I put on the mask.
I love it. Let's just talk about the. Actually, there really isn't anything to talk about as far as the pre-show is concerned. There really isn't, other than there was a nice little Twitter Q&A bit with Cesaro and Sheamus where they actually did the whole.
Everything's great with Cesaro. With Cesaro.
Cesaro.
We were corrected. It's not Cesaro. It's Cesaro.
It is Cesaro.
But we came up with the whole thing before they did, so who gives a shit?
Obviously, not like it would have taken a room full of geniuses to come up with Cesaro, but still.
You would think.
I'm just surprised it took as long as they did to actually get around to using it on the air. But yeah, I just latched onto them doing the cute little dun 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 dun, Sheamus and Cesaro. Dun, dun,
I missed
dun,
that
dun.
part, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going nuts.
No, I wasn't going nuts. They actually did it on the pre-show,
nice.
and that was a lot of fun for me. But everything else, ever since they took Booker T off of the pre-show lineup and put him actually in a better position being ringside announcer, there really hasn't been much to talk about, and that kind of leaves us at a kind of a crossroads. Much like the careers of Enzo and Cass in the club, the tag teams that are in the are in perpetual 50-50 booking.
Yeah.
Ugh. So on the pre-show, we got ourselves a tag team match with again Enzo and Cass in the club, and coin flip. Okay, looks like Enzo and Cass won. Woo! They just had a typical match.
Like, Cass basically, gets pummeled and crawls around.
You mean Enzo? Enzo gets...
Sorry, Enzo. Yeah. Enzo gets pummeled. He, crawls around the ring until he eventually makes it to Cass. Cass goes in, does his 4 or 5 moves, and that's it.
Yeah, rinse, wash, and repeat. This was... It's actually very, very poetic that match began the entire night's proceedings, because that match and the ins and outs of its, rhythm. The club keeps denying the tag and are playing the typical heel role. It's just that match encapsulated the whole night, just going through the paces. Now, this didn't lead to a weird... Well, one match did lead to a weird booking decision, I think. But I think in the long term, you will see the merit in it. But tonight, there is definitely some coitus interruptus for one particular match. And one booking of a match, rather. But, yeah, Enzo and Cass... won the day through a surprise roll-up. No, nothing definitive. Just, all right. That's 15 minutes. All right. We got another 45 minutes to fill up on the pre-show.
It feels like you've seen that match. Oh, wait, we have seen that a million times. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of, I had to take my potty break in the middle of Miz TV, and apparently I chose the right appropriate time to do it. As Gabe put it, the only thing that of any merit that actually came about this was that Maurice was cheered.
They cheered Maurice.
Cheered.
They gave her a yes chant. Apparently, so it was basically between Miz and Maurice and... Oh, it was the club. That's what it was. That's right. Balor was the guest, so Balor comes out and he's like, "Oh, I don't think you guys." They're asking, "Can we join the club?" And Miz does his little thing, and they're like, "No, you can't join the club because they won't accept you in." It's like, okay, but they will take Maurice in. They love Maurice apparently.
Yeah, it just that's about the far as the evening goes with those two. Although, what was it? He ended the night with pummeling Miz a little bit, and, well, way to go. Ooh. We're going to have this. We're going to have that a lot tonight. So, going in with the first match on the main card proper, Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the U.S. Championship. And surprisingly enough, Jericho wins, despite his band Fozzy going on tour. Was this like Jericho working us for the last few weeks? I guess.
Is he actually quitting the band or something?
I don't know. I don't know. Apparently we have to tune into SmackDown to find out if he's just going to abdicate the belt. Yeah. And then there's just going to be, AJ Styles will have to, go against somebody new just for the abdicated belt. So it'll probably be Kevin Owens. So we're basically back to where we started from, unless he's not going on tour, and then he's just going to face AJ Styles in a repeat of their match at WrestleMania last year. Well, if that winds up being the case, I sure hope that their match at Backlash goes a lot better than the WrestleMania match. That was kind of a letdown. I mean, not for nothing, but his first WrestleMania match was probably his worst pay-per-view match of that year. Yeah, that. I mean, it goes to show AJ Styles had plenty of great matches.
It's hard for me to look back at any of his matches, and asking me to pick out the worst AJ Styles match is not something I want to do.
But I think if you look back on it, you really have no other choice, because him and Jericho, it was like they got blown up halfway through it. A lot of the moves were pretty sloppy.
Oh, that wasn't. I mean, I think we know that was probably on Jericho's fault.
I think both kind of share the blame on that one.
Jericho's a little bit, worse for wear.
He's a little slower, but it's not like he couldn't work around it. He's such a great worker. He could use his advanced years. He could still go in the ring and make it entertaining. Yeah. But I don't think that. But I can't look at that match and say wow, they were on top form in that match. No. And they certainly were not. Say what you will on how frustrating it was to see Roman Reigns keep beating AJ Styles for like those 3 pay-per-view matches in a row.
Yeah.
As much as you want to, as much as you want to look back on that and just like, they were good matches. At the very least, I could buy that Roman Reigns, I could buy Roman Reigns' work with AJ Styles. He brought out the best in him. Mm-hmm. But that WrestleMania match is just, even it's not a terrible match, but it's just, compared to the rest of the year's work he had ahead of him, definitely the black sheep of the bunch.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yes, but for this match, it was amazing to see Jericho become like the greatest face on Raw, and will now be on SmackDown. Well, at least that title's a little bit more up in the air on SmackDown than it is on Raw. But hearing that crowd just cheer him and everything he did,
it's pretty over. I mean, we already know that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's Jericho. How can he not be over? Yeah. But to be that over and that sincerely over, not because it's a nostalgia trip, but because he earned that ovation.
Because he's the ultimate, reinventor of himself. He's apparently he channeled his last thing from Country for Old Men.
Yeah, I wasn't around. I
read some of that. Apparently, he borrowed from that.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't tell you one way or the other. I wasn't paying attention to wrestling back then. But
I just did some reading.
Mm-hmm. But the match between them is again a great example of knowing knowing where the energy is and about and exploiting that, and seeing Jericho just completely lose it on Kevin Owens' hand and just
we finally got the finger feud.
Yeah,
like when he said he was going to go after Kevin Owens' finger and put it on the list. It took a little while for us to actually see the payoff from that, and we got it tonight.
Mm-hmm. It was ridiculous.
It was pretty ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Singling out a finger as a weak point.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, my Achilles tendon! You found it.
My Achilles heel is actually in my hand.
Now we're going to have some segments with him and a bandaged finger and.
They're gonna Roman Reigns it, except it's on his the biggest cast possible on his one finger. It looks like he's saying he's number 1.
Yeah, God, that'd be great. It's we get to hear Jables be all concerned about the face of America, the finger of America.
He is number 1. But a few spots in the match, despite not despite, but including the great freak out of Jericho just stomping on his hand, just taking the steel steps and jamming his hand.
Oh yeah, getting his finger caught in between the post and the steel steps, and then kicking it.
Mm-hmm. But
God, I feel terrible that these were the most memorable events of the night.
But they are. Well, it's this tied with another one.
This is a match that has some. We'll get to it because it's next.
I'm thinking a few matches. I'm thinking a few matches down the card. But
yeah.
But to get back on point,
you all know what we're waiting for.
Mm-hmm. But to get back on point, one of the nastiest bump of the night was probably unintended, but goddamn was there were a heart, it jolts your heart oh my God, is he hurt? When that
hurt. When you mean the point where he did a
a standing Frankensteiner.
Yeah, that's what
and then just DDT Kevin Owens' head straight into the mat with his legs.
It was very awkward. It was very stiff, and Jericho immediately got up and got right back into a hold or something. So I didn't worry too much. But if he hadn't,
I think he quickly did that just to make sure that Kevin Owens was conscious.
Yeah.
It's how's your neck? How's your neck? Do you know where you are? How many fingers am I holding up?
It definitely looked like the most rough spot of the night.
Oh, it had to be. I can't imagine a more brutal spot. And this was a match in which several people did get busted open.
Yeah.
So let's hope that indeed Kevin Owens is all right. I think he is.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he is. But whoo boy, I if that was planned, that was the most graceful standing Frankenstein I've ever seen.
Graceful?
Just graceful in terms of it looked like it hurt.
Yeah, there was nothing graceful about that.
Well, when you look at a Frankenstein, it always looks pretty, heavy, and it's a lot of choreography, because it's a person basically just flipping somebody over their legs and they crash into the mat.
I mean, well executed if it was intended to look that
like if it's
stiff.
Yeah, if it was, if you're turning a Frankensteiner into like a leg drop DDT, then that is by far the best executed version, because it looked like it hurt and it didn't hurt a fly. So then in that regard, 2 thumbs the way up.
Definitely.
So and then he managed to get the crab on him, or the walls of Jericho, and get Kevin Owens to tap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the walls of Jericho. It's certainly not a Boston Crab.
Or a lion tamer.
No, certainly not a lion tamer.
Certainly not a lion tamer. I mean, we did have some surprises tonight, and that's nice.
Again,
we didn't think that he was going to win the match.
Obviously not. So like, unless he's advocating the belt, or the whole Fozzie's going on tour was this whole work.
So the booking, kept us,
completely
at the edge of our seats.
So yes,
in that regard.
Yeah, we thought it was going to swing one way, but it went the other way, and it didn't leave us pissed off. Yeah. So in that way, it might be the best match in the card. I don't, on recollection, probably not.
I have my favorite.
I think we're going to share that favorite. Yeah, I mean, as a match, I think this is the best one on the card, but it's not my favorite match on the card. But moving on to the next one, which was Austin Aries versus Neville, which is the only match on the card where the booking decision kind of, I could see what they're trying to do, but I wish there was something a little bit more definitive. Like, I would wish that like Neville had cheated to win instead of just got himself blatantly disqualified.
Yeah. It was, that was kind of like, and we will continue this feud into the next match.
I mean, it's transparent. Like, it's transparent.
This is going to continue.
Mm-hmm. So, but the match itself again is another hard hitting cruiserweight, which we're starting to become one of my favorites on the card, because I love hard hitting matches, and I love the fact that they're athletic enough to create hard hitting.
They're just bullet train matches, because doesn't take that much. They get going. It's fast the whole way through. There's no rest holds. There's hardly any.
Well, when it's Neville, there are going to be rest holds, but that's just because he's working heel.
Look at the guy. Obviously, he doesn't need to rest.
Yeah.
So yeah, to be Neville with Neville's, to be at Neville's level.
As Corey Graves is more than proud of himself for using.
To be there and to hold yourself back like that must take a lot of restraint. Yeah,
it's. I find the match itself to be. It was on par with their WrestleMania pre-show match, but again, it just feels like, if you're going to go with this angle, if you want to keep the cruiserweight belt on Neville for as long as you can, then there can't be as many outcomes where he just gets himself blatantly disqualified, because all that does is, it just kind of shortchanges. It shortchanges the character. I mean, him to cheat to win, you could still book that in a means to, like, hey, you didn't win properly. We'll give Austin Aries another shot somewhere down the line because he didn't lose fair and square.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only doing that so that way you can prolong the feud, that keeps keeps Neville from looking from like a pussy, which I don't believe his character really calls for.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a chicken shit heel.
No.
He's not a Miz. So it feels like we're taking the easy way out as far as the painfully.
He's a very Triple H kind of heel.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to call yourself the king of the cruiserweights and not call up the image of the king of kings.
Well, I mean, look at his build. Look at the wet hair.
Yeah.
The constant, grimace and serious walk, and it's just the whole stature. It feels very.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He makes it his own.
Yeah.
Tonight, maybe even a little too much.
Yeah.
He mugged. He mugged every side of the arena.
Like he
got up on the ropes and started going like. I don't even know what he was doing there. It looked like he was. It's like, here comes the food. I just would make spinach.
I guess I really don't. I really have nothing to really follow that up because he does have like that kind of demeanor of a spoiled brat, especially when he puts on that squinchy, that his version of the heel face is just like it's Triple H if you asked him to suck a lemon.
But he's really enjoying himself,
and
we are enjoying it, so that's what's important.
My problem with the booking of this match is that they're booking Austin to be the face, but where was his face turn?
But
yeah,
there was never really an actual moment for a face turn that I can remember in any of the feud, and they really both went from being heels to continuing to be heels, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't mind seeing a face versus face or heel versus heel fight. I can groove to whatever beat that they're laying down. But you got to give me like, why do you want me to want Austin Aries to win? Because Neville is a bad guy. Well, he's a badder guy than Austin. Well, but Neville's entertaining.
He's a lovable bad guy, though.
He's a lovable bad guy. So I think that's sort of like.
Austin Aries did get the majority chance though, or well, a lot of them.
Well, yeah, because I think the audience is smarky enough to know, like they reached meta smarkiness where they realized that even though they like Neville more than Austin Aries, they also realized that the role of their fan is to cheer the face, and Austin's not so bad.
Wow, you mean that the audience actually cared for their for their guy so much that they actually tried to give him an edge up as a heel by booing him?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're so smart that you arrive back to the same place as where you're supposed to be. God. But like it's in this day and age, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. All right, everyone knows it's a work. So if you're going to be smart, be that kind of smart. Don't try to be like somebody's trying to upend the show by chanting CM Punk.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. You're not doing anyone any favors. Sure, sometimes the matches suck, but it's not necessarily the fault of the people that are in the ring. Yeah. But it was a hard-hitting match. It was a nice, fluid cruiserweight match with an ending which I do not agree with. I mean, I don't mind the belt on Neville for as long as they are planning to do so. I can't think of a better person to put the belt under right now, but
nope,
not like this. Not like this. Next match on the card. Ooh, yeah. This is the one that I think we're both going to agree on as the favorite of the night. This is the Cesaro versus Hardys for the Tag Team Champ match. And I think I know why this is your favorite, but that's not necessarily why it's my favorite. So we have ourselves a nice classic tag team match. We get to see the strength of both team members pretty equally. You see, Jeff doing his trademark swanton. You see Matt, and
you see the little glimmer of broken brilliance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's leading. He does a delete.
He's giving us just enough to have hope.
Mm-hmm. And then you see all the fun moves that both Cesaro and Sheamus do. The bulldozer, the elevated white noise, the giant swing. Yeah. It's everything you want to see in their matches, and it's done all very, very well. And then, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you interpret these things, I believe I forgot who took the pin. I believe it was. I believe it was Sheamus. I think it was Sheamus. Sheamus took the pin because Cesaro was pushed out of the barricade and was unable to break up the pin. Yeah, so Sheamus took the pin. Hardys retain. Yeah. They do the good sportsmanship, shaking their hands, and then they come back and just wallop both of them. They just fucking
Cesaro comes back and wallops them.
Yeah, just wallops the Hardys, and then all of a sudden,
we would have been happy with either team winning in this.
Yeah, exactly. But to see them, we see them basically on the same level where it was like, oh, Cesaro's face, and Sheamus is heel, and then you had that fun where you get to cheer Cesaro but boo Sheamus. Boo. Yeah, that was a nice little bit. But now we get to see them on the same page as being equally heel.
Well, actually, we got to see Cesaro kind of take the heel position a little bit while Sheamus tried to be the the cooler heads prevail guy and take a little bit of that. But and that led us to think, oh, okay, they're doing a reversal thing. They're switching. They're doing the bad cop, good cop, bad cop thing.
And switching the roles, and then nope.
And then no, they're just both going bad.
They're both bad
They're
cops.
both, yeah.
And you know what? Okay, we're just changing up the dynamic of the team a little bit. And
I liked it.
And I personally liked it. And
it was another surprise. Good booking.
Good booking. And there was only one team that Cesaro could turn heel against because he's so popular with the smarks that he'd still be technically a face and cheered no matter who he tried to backstab. But save for the Hardys. If an internet darling crosses another internet darling, then it doesn't matter what the smarks will say.
Yeah. They're
going to boo him. And, that is another quality bit of booking right there as far as I'm concerned. But I think the reason why you loved it so much was that bro kick delivered by Sheamus on Matt, where Matt was clearly busted open.
Yeah.
Clearly busted open from a previous night of the move, and Jeff lost a tooth throughout the match. It was definitely a veneer, though.
He delivered him the broken kick.
It's the broken... with recent news that WWE may have bought the rights to the broken character from TNA...
And I found, you told me about that before this, so I was kind of really, really excited to see what would happen. Do you think that maybe Sheamus is going to get credit for breaking him?
I hope so. I hope this continues for a long time.
A bro kick being what leads him,
the broken...
The bro kick.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, Randy Orton punted Husky Harris's head so hard that he came back as Bray Wyatt.
And then there's apparently, if I understand correctly, there's a well of reincarnation in the TNA version of.
I don't watch TNA. I mean, as much as
something I heard.
You could be right. You could be wrong. I wouldn't know.
I mean, if they bring that back, that there could be people going back into regressing into old gimmicks.
Like you pushed John Cena back into the well, and he comes back up as like that gangster John Cena when he was back in 2005.
Yeah.
Ooh, that is. Oh, that.
I look forward to seeing that. That'd be so great if they bring that back. Or bring it to WWE. That'd be really cool.
Oh, that would be.
That's the
that
wrestling crap that is good.
That is the entertaining neon lit wrestle crap that I think both of us hungered for tonight, and we were
hoping for tonight,
and we just didn't quite get there.
I think that the next match is that match.
No.
It's Bayley versus
Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. But there's a few other things.
A few other things about
this match before we go on. Damn Cesaro. Way to show Hulk Hogan how you drop a leg drop.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot.
Yeah,
that was the most air I've ever seen on a leg drop. I think
he clears the top rope easy.
Yeah,
he clears the top rope. From
and don't get us wrong, he didn't use the top rope. He just jumped from the mat.
But like a prone position,
it looked like somebody did a super leg drop.
I know, right? It is.
Holy shit, man.
That is how you drop a motherfucking leg on somebody. That was beautiful. And with the fact that they now have this newly energized heel turn, like an out-and-out heel turn, where they're basically been tweeners face for the last few months, ever since they kind of came together as a group.
Yeah.
Now they're just out-and-out heels, and this may be the beginning of the broken gimmick WWE version, and you may have mixed feelings about whether or not they're going to be as, like out of their gourd lunacy like they were in TNA, where they basically had complete creative control, versus this very corporate environment of WWE and their version of what kookiness is.
But, I'm holding out. Could be good.
Could be good, could be bad, but at the very least, we are interested.
Yes.
Woo! And speaking of leg drops, Sheamus with this great, trying to sing Jeff Hardy to sleep with that lullaby of a punt that he did.
Oh yeah. Then there was the the Randy Orton kick thing.
Yeah, like that the punt. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was what actually busted him open.
Ooh,
you didn't notice that?
Like, I don't think it was. I didn't think it was.
He was busted open before that final bro kick.
I know he was busted before the final bro kick, but I couldn't catch where it was. But I forgot that he did that punt on Matt Hardy. I thought he got him in the gut, but
what I saw was the head. Ooh. Actually, I'm pretty sure they did a slow-mo replay where it showed him,
getting...
Yeah, it was definitely the head.
I don't know, it could very well be that he got punted in the head and that's how he got busted open. But...
I didn't see the bust open until after that.
Yeah.
So...
But, more than likely he just caught, somebody's elbow while he was running the ropes and, just clipped him, and that's just enough to get that, crimson down. Not quite the, the full mask, but it was just enough where you get some color.
It was a tasteful amount.
It was a tasteful amount. It was color, but it wasn't...
And it didn't look like a blade job at all.
Oh, no, that was an honest to God
it was
clip.
A real juice job, yeah.
Yeah, that was an actual... not a hard way, because that wasn't intentional, but it was an accidental juice job, but none of the refs put on gloves or anything like that.
Oh, they didn't actually...
No, they didn't put on gloves.
Check to see if they did, okay.
No, I didn't see any of the refs with gloves, even after, the whole
That's
unholy
unusual.
beat.
Okay, they probably just were, so busy, because that match was really fast-paced.
Especially for a tag team match, but... Which is surprising, because the next one was... You also were very into. It's Alexa Bliss versus Bayley for the Women's Championship.
Yeah, this was my second favorite match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of like a kind of a hold your breath moment, because it's Bayley's home crowd, and Bayley has been slipping up lately, especially on the grand stage of them all. So
this was, it's her home. Yeah,
is she going to embarrass herself? If she's going to embarrass herself in front of her, her hometown,
and she didn't.
No.
She had 0 botches, and nobody got hurt. God, I hate to have to say this.
Yeah, I mean,
and she was all right.
She was all right, but Alexa just showed her up, just in terms of her creativity.
Well, Alexa is, kind of just the best thing ever. So.
Even more than your precious Dana Brooke?
Dana Brooke is not really a wrestler proper yet, so I'm not really,
So we can't...
I'm not comparing...
We're not going to measure her against an actual wrestler. It's just that she's in the mat, and, she's doing wrestling moves, but she's not a wrestler. So we gotta coddle her. We gotta judge her by different metrics.
She should not have left NXT this early. I think she has great potential.
I'm not saying she doesn't, but...
They pushed her way too fast.
I'm not saying she doesn't have great potential. She does. She can make it one day, but she has to put it together, and she is not putting it together. Not after that match she had with Alicia Fox. Ugh.
I didn't see it. Here's the thing. I watch my matches from Hulu. I get my Monday, Tuesday.
They're doing you a kindness, good sir. They are doing you a kindness.
If I had, if I was just using, watching proper cable, I would get the full thing. I'm not. I use Hulu. That's what I do. And he says it's that I'm lucky. It's a blessing because I'm getting all the fat cut out. But I don't get my Dana Brooke matches.
And that, like I said, they're
doing they're doing me a favor.
So you can still hold on to this view of Dana Brooke without actually having to see the reality of Dana Brooke.
Yes.
Well, but that's, Dana Brooke is a non-factor in this match.
Everybody has to have an underdog.
Mm-hmm. Right? I was about to go someplace mean. I stopped myself.
You stopped yourself from being mean.
Yes. Or do you want me to say it, though? Do you want me to say it? Everyone has to root for an underdog, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Right there, Mr. Benoit?
Yes. Okay.
That's, yeah.
Okay, I see where you're going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If we wanted to be mean, we could bring up each other's favorite wrestlers that have not exactly aged well for one reason or another.
Well, when I was rooting for him, he wasn't really an underdog that much.
Oh, I mean, he was banging on the door for the top card, yeah, but for the main eventer, but.
I mean, there was never a question about his skill.
No, there was never a question about his skill, but
it's not like what happened, and I was like, no, I still think that he can, pull out of this. I was like, give suspension. Suspend him and give him some time. He's an underdog.
He's a rabid Wolverine.
What did you expect? That's his gimmick. Okay, can we move on?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, but Alexa Bliss outshone Bayley in her hometown.
I'm sorry, Bayley. I want to root for you, but I have to root for Alexa Bliss. So,
which was like I wasn't quite sure how the match was going to go because the beginning of the match was kind of slow. It was very, it was a lot of ramming into the corner and
it was pretty slow, methodical.
Yeah, very much a heel centric match in that regard.
The thing that wins me over so much with Alexa Bliss is that she's an all-around superstar. Like, every single aspect. She's good in the ring, she's aware, and she's excellent on the mic.
So, and I could, like, at the beginning of the match, aside from it being slow, it also felt like they were going through the paces, which I wrote down here, like, feels like both are going through the motions, kind of like this pay-per-view. But then all of a sudden, Alexa Bliss, hits the elevated code red, and like there was like an internal switch that was just flipped on, and it became a completely different match, complete with Bayley giving a little nod to Stone Cold and stomping a mud hole into Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
The way faces do.
The way faces do.
You could tell she wants to turn heel. There's a part of Bayley.
I think that everybody who is having a face run and it starts to wear thin and it's not going anywhere wants to go heel, because where else do you go from there? Not good.
Not good at all. But some of the spots towards the end where Bliss just kept launching Bayley's head into the post,
and then doing the hair pull.
Yeah, just. Very, a lot of Mean Girl stuff, and then finally she wins it with a spike DDT right to the mat, which I understand why they're doing it. Right, I like the fact that they're trying to bring back the DDT. Bringing back the DDT as the match stopper, not necessarily a finishing move, but like if somebody
you're dropping somebody square on their head, doesn't get much more brutal than that.
Especially the way Alexa Bliss does it, where it's almost like she's spiking a ball after she scored a touchdown. It's.
Alexa Bliss she's got like a choke slam move. It's like a Russian leg sweep or a STF or
it's almost like a reverse. It's like a reverse rock bottom.
Yeah, it just takes a person, screams at them, and just slams their head into the mat, and then she does her finishing move is so awesome. It's so
insult to injury. Yeah.
Insult to injury is a combination of rough and finesse. Because it's like, it's knee drops, it's stiff, and then it's a moonsault into knee drops. It's just a beautiful combination of the both.
Yeah, but I can understand why they're telling her to kind of roll back on that, because if she's working heel, she can't exactly have very flashy moves. She just can't, because it's too hard to not cheer for stuff like that. And cheering is not what you do to heels. So, that's why, rest holds and, submission holds, rest holds, and hard striking moves that aren't very finesse, doesn't have a lot of finesse, but are supposed to be very impactful, that's within the realm of heels. Stuff off the top rope, and, like elevators and stuff like that, that's in the realm of faces. So that's also kind of what kept, Daniel Bryan from really being the number one babyface. The environment around him kept saying, he was, their guy, Daniel Bryan, he's the underdog. We all love him because he's nice and he's full of life. Finishers were the goddamn crippling crossface. And it's kind of
and knee strikes, like Shining Wizards and kicks to the head. It's
those. He had a flying knee strike that he beat John Cena clean with. So
Kinshasa.
Yeah, you could say it was Kinshasa before anyone.
Wizard.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much, but. That's why they gave that to him. So that way he had that, he had that wind-up move, and he didn't need to be within, making somebody tap out.
Yeah.
So I can understand that they're giving that kind of, that finisher to Alexa Bliss, because you cannot have the insult to injury, a finisher that good on somebody that you're supposed to boo.
It does end with a knee drop, though, which is kind of heel.
It ends with a knee drop, but after a standing moonsault and
I mean, anybody who has any clue about wrestling is going to know how hard that is to do.
Oh yeah,
it's like a knee drop to a person behind you.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I can also see that being dangerous, so they're trying not to do it as much.
It's entirely that's also true. But I've heard no rumors backstage that they wanted to get that off of her because of the dangerous implications of it.
Because she's never done it wrong.
No, she's never done it wrong. But then again, that never stopped. That didn't stop them from banning the curb stomp. Seth Rollins never injured anyone with a curb stomp.
Well, exactly. The point is, you never know.
Yeah.
Don't have to do it wrong for them to start taking it away from you. And God knows you can, do it wrong over and over again, apparently, and still keep it. And keep doing it. And still, keep putting people on the shelf. Here's, who I'm looking at.
Mr. Buckle Bomb.
Yeah. Just the Buckle Bomb sounds very...
Yeah, I know.
Erotic.
Yeah, that's not exactly the kind of name you want to give a move that's supposed to be as damaging as it really is. Like, it has the word buckle in it.
Yeah.
Buckle is not exactly a phrase that you associate toughness with. Oddly enough,
but it's a brutal move.
Yeah,
and it's actually even more. It looks kind of brutal, but it effectively is way more brutal than it even looks. So, apparently,
yeah. But Alexa winning and playing the spoiler and upsetting the home crowd, I agree with that decision.
I love it. You were talking about Renee Young looking like Beetlejuice.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing the striped coat and everything, and
yeah,
kind of had her hair. And Alexa Bliss is like, if I say Beetlejuice 3 times, will the streamers and balloons appear? Like, yeah. She's on point.
Yeah, like I got that. Like she's definitely she's definitely aware. Or as the kids are calling it, woke.
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 I thought it was wick or like weck or
no,
wick or something.
Like no woke. Like she's woke. Like she's woke. Yeah, WOKE woke. Whatever, indeed.
I only learned that word today. Apparently, there's actually a clothes shop that's called that in our town. No, it was Windsor. We're okay.
Okay, we're okay.
Yeah,
but that's too close for comfort. Way too close for comfort. For those of you not in the know, that being in Windsor to us would be like the equivalent of that clothes store being in Brooklyn to Manhattan.
Yeah.
Way too close for comfort. Although it's definitely not an hour train ride away. However, let's talk about the match that both of us were looking forward to, but for all the wrong reasons. And that was the House of Horrors match.
Oh, fuck.
Or as I like to call it, what... the house, the Hills Have Eyes would look like if it was directed by the guy behind Cloverfield 2.
10 Cloverfield.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Cloverfield 2.
Yeah, 10 just a whole lot of awkward holds.
Or just like The Room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like with one room.
Or like, are you talking about Silent Hill, The Room?
No, like that recent art film that came out with the boy and the
mother. Oh!
I think it was called The Room.
Was it just Room?
Or just Room?
Yeah. They can't call it The Room. No. Not after a certain movie that you may have heard about.
I mean, the set kind of looked like that too, I guess. It looked like just about any condominium or something, very small.
Yeah, like the House of Horrors match, like everyone was giving their wild guesses as to what they were. And with the promo packages the way they were, I thought it was an Inferno match. But no.
They show that's because they, showed Inferno matches as an example because the ring was on fire and
and fire and ash, and I'm thinking, is this going to turn into an Inferno match?
I was going to be very upset if it was just another Inferno match. Like, I know. I mean, like, an Inferno match, sure, that's interesting. I haven't had one in a while. But don't call it the House of Horrors if it's an Inferno match.
Call it an Inferno match.
But they didn't do that. I guess I thought I was going to be happy they didn't do that. But that would have been a lot better.
Yeah, where it was basically a boiler room match. Excuse me. It was basically a boiler room brawl and just using some kitchen appliances and pots and pans.
It could be in this room right here, and it wouldn't look much different from what they did.
No.
Because there was like a couch with a, like a renovation looking kind of thing going on. It was like a quilt over a couch, and a few frames were like tilted. Like, oh no, there was like a 1.0. It was like a
Dutch angle. It was like the Dutch angles all over the place, and then like prototypical. No, I was about to say not prototypical. Your stereotypical, like creepy mise en scène, like dolls hanging from the rafters. They even had like the dream catcher, like just a random dream catcher in the middle
from,
of
like True Detective. Or
yeah,
something.
from True Detective season 1, exactly.
If there was more like that, you know, if they actually made it like the set from True Detective, that might have been more interesting. But
like we actually do meet Sister Abigail and. Why aren't you making flowers on me, Bray?
I thought that this was like a part of the match is him like talking to his mom or something.
Or we finally him talking to Sister Abigail or something like that. I have no clue. Although there's this moment where he's just talking with Randy. He's just taunting Randy. So like, welcome to the House of Horrors, Randy. And that his delivery reminded me so much of like that tough guy speak you hear at every single bad FPS. Especially in the mid-2000s, like, we're coming for you, blank. It's like, we're coming for you, Randy. And so I just, throughout this entire match, it just kept, just riffing on it, just screaming at, like, random things in the frame, like, I don't know where I got this shovel, Randy. There was just a shovel that he just picked up for no reason and just threw it off frame. Like, did he honestly think for a moment that he was going to brandish it like a weapon?
Let's set this up. So the first shot is Randy Orton, kind of basically fulfilling the role of, like, that one kid in a Stephen King horror film or something. He's wandering like, where am I? Where's the House of Horrors match supposed to be? And there's like this little house with with this terrible blue light shining on to make it look like it's haunted or something. And it's he's looking off into the distance and it's like, oh, there it is. And he goes to the house and there's this little just this little tractor goes by. Rolls by.
My favorite part of the beginning is when he looks up in the attic and there's Bray just kind of hanging upside down in the. That is
like Bray was every single jump scare that was intended to be in this. It's a House of Horrors. It's a haunted house. That's what we were hoping for, like a haunted house match.
Mm-hmm.
It was stupid, but it was. Great stupid. It was funny stupid that we were hoping for.
Yeah,
I was hoping there were no sheeples. There were no people with like the goat masks and stuff or the sheep masks.
It's like you were expecting if they tried to do it like the way like the intro to BioShock Infinite where they're guiding Randy down this river.
Yeah, they're giving him a baptism.
They're about to baptize him into the world of.
Yeah, like he already went through the induction into the Wyatt family, but
if he didn't take the belt from John Cena at Elimination Chamber 2016, that would have been enough. If he didn't, he had to project himself into a holographic screen and ruining Hell in a Cell 2014. It would have been enough.
But basically, instead of having all these wrestlers in spooky costumes, just, jumping, Randy's like, oh my god, punch. RKO, like a random RKO. They could have done so much more of this, but no, it's just basically, it's just Bray Wyatt fulfilling every one of those things. Like he walks into the house, looks up, and immediately there's like Bray Wyatt over there in a cut out in the wall. You can like see Bray Wyatt just going like,
and they just kind of have like this almost They Live style of brawl where it's like it's like
you put on the glasses.
It had that exact same kind of uncomfortable pace, whereas in They Live it's simultaneously hysterical and hard hitting.
Yeah.
This is just dumb, and it's just kind of
it is slow and tired and just like they're trying so hard to make their environment seem like it's taxing on them, but they're just there's a couch, there's like a kitchen I guess with nothing in it. There's no like knives or anything scary in the kitchen. It's just I think there was a shovel, and they don't even use the shovel. He's just like, oh my god, there's a shovel here.
Yeah,
let's get rid of that.
Goodbye, thing I could use as a weapon.
Yeah, there's no props to use against each other.
Outside of the pots and pans in the kitchen, and that's it.
Oh yeah, Bray Wyatt gets a little saucepan to hit.
Like, what is he, like a 1950s housewife that's trying to keep out a burglar?
Yeah, that's what it felt like, because Randy Orton was really kind of handing it to him the whole time.
You should like just brandish a rolling pin or something.
It looked like a domestic dispute between the two. There's like pushing. He's like, "Get off me! You don't love me! Get off!" Throw.
Wait a minute. It looked like it was a segment that would have been on Jerry Springer.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to sum it up.
It's oh god.
If Jerry Springer just had the two people, the one couple.
Yeah, like it was a wrestle crap, but not the kind of tasty, cheesy wrestle crap we were hoping it to be.
I was very, very upset with this.
Yeah.
Like the projection of the maggots in the WrestleMania match was way more House of Horror than what we got.
Mm-hmm.
That was the House of Horror match. This was shit.
Pretty shit. Although after Bray Wyatt drops the refrigerator on Randy, and fat guy fat guy just walks out of the house. He can't stop himself from like just sucking in air like he was fucking Hulk Hogan in TNA.
They booked him so weak. Just this is the worst Bray Wyatt's ever looked. He looked horrible. He's wearing this wife beater, and he's just. I don't know if it was.
You know what he looked? He reminded me of David Koechner. You know, David Koechner. Remember the Naked Trucker and T-Bone show on Comedy Central?
No.
You don't remember that at all?
No.
All right, David. All right, Anchorman. All right, remember the guy in the cowboy hat?
Okay, yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
So he reminded me of David Koechner the way he just has. He's all gut and he's just like he's arching his back, so it's doing like he's trying to puff his chest out to make him look bigger. But
like
all
he was trying to puff his stomach out.
Yeah, exactly. Bigger. The way David Koechner does for a gag.
The only thing he was missing was a beer bottle in his hand.
It's like. That's what you get, Tammy, for back talking.
But he does this shuffle walk, like, and falling over now and then to like that. They really got the House of Horrors took it out of me.
Yeah. That was the moment. That was the most hilarious moment of that entire fight because it was like 3 solid minutes of him just like.
It's Monty Python's House of Horrors.
But also, another funny moment is that he goes inside the limo, and he tells the driver to take him to the arena.
And he's just in the back, kind of like, ah. I sure hope the driver doesn't turn out to be Randy Orton.
And it doesn't. They're not pulling like a Undertaker, like buckle up, Bray, or nothing like that. Yeah. Although that would have been pretty fun. It would make no goddamn sense, but it would have been fun.
So the stipulations were that it starts off at the House of Horrors, wherever that is, and then they apparently need to take a car back to the arena. Or, for some reason. Although I'm wondering, like, the limo driver, just like, I left with Randy Orton. Is he not coming back? No, yeah, he's probably got his own ride.
I guess you'll pay me. And before, of course, how we know that Randy Orton is finished is that Bray Wyatt turns the house blue to red.
They switched the blue light off and put on the red light.
So, yep, they put on the red light.
So he's
Roxanne.
Yeah, I know he's in the red light district.
Now he's Team Raw. Now he used to be Team SmackDown. Now he's Team Raw because
it turns to red. He turns from blue to red.
I mean, if I know WWE, and they're very heavy in their color-coded symbolism. Very, very...
Except that Randy makes it bad. But the weirdest thing about this match is that they had to take a break because they have to take a limo back to the arena to fight again. And that meant they had to have another match between the beginning and end of the House of Horror match. So... this was the first time I don't know if this is the first time this has ever happened.
Certainly the only time I can remember it happening.
Normally, like, there's a match, and then they'll take a break because they're still feuding. And then they'll make it to, like, somewhere else, and you'll still, now returning, seeing, like, field trip matches. But this was the first time the match was actually still technically going, and they had to have another match separate a match.
Yeah, it was sort of like a. And now for something completely different, which was Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe. Now this, it probably is the worst match on the card. Yeah, I think it's fair to say it is the worst match on the card, just in terms of how much of a nothing feud it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretending it's this huge big deal, but when you take out the king and now you got like the king's regent, like the king's guard, as it were, it just doesn't feel.
This is
the
not
metaphor just kind of.
You're not peeling the onion properly.
Yeah, like the metaphor is just kind of crumbling away. I mean,
you're
like
supposed to start with the extremities and get to the king. And
yeah, like
starting with the king and then taking out
the king. You go king's guard, then king. Don't king, then take out his guard.
It's like he took out the king. Of course, he's going to take out the king's guard.
Yeah, it's like there's no way they're going to bury Seth Rollins' accomplishment by having him lose against
and bury Triple H.
Yeah, exactly. Triple H's bodyguard, essentially. So of course he's going to take him out. So right there away, there goes like any kind of like, oh, what's going to happen?
And it was a boring match.
Yeah, Seth Rollins is a great wrestler. He has great chemistry with a lot of people he wrestles with. Same thing with Samoa Joe, but for some reason.
Not these two.
They just have nothing with each other. They just don't.
And when something I've noticed about Samoa Joe, and that's one of the first matches I ever saw him in NXT, was one of those matches when he's not on, he's off. That's what it seems. If he's not having good chemistry, he's not having a good match. If he's not, it's like there's two modes for him. Full force or just half-assing it.
I mean,
and when you know that he can pull out amazing matches, pisses you off a little more.
I mean, it's not like this match is bereft of great spots. Like I loved seeing Seth Rollins hit the Falcon Arrow on him, which was very impressive.
That was very impressive on a man of his stature.
Of his stature, being able to do that to Samoa Joe, that was impressive to see. And of course, the nice, tasty clothesline from Hell. That
was really good. Mm-hmm. It looked.
It had huge contact, great flip, great sell. Everything about that was just perfect. But the build up to this fight could not get me invested in what was going to happen. And the fact that these characters don't really have any traction moving forward because they kind of told the story out of order.
It's just loose ends.
Yeah. Just feels like
unnecessary loose ends.
Mm-hmm. It's like they booked this match this should have been on Fastlane.
Yeah. Yeah.
This should have been on Fastlane, but it wasn't. Or, I don't know, maybe they did fight at Fastlane and I just completely forgot about it. That just shows you how little charisma...
The angle... I don't like the conditions that they brought Samoa Joe in on. They could have booked him much better than this.
Yeah, I don't mind him being corporate. I mean,
No, that's fine. It's just that... It doesn't make any sense. What is the motivation for Samoa Joe at this point?
I mean, like, if he...
Your king has fallen.
Your king has fallen, so...
He's slain. And so...
I mean, I get the idea, like, oh, hey, you basically took away my meal ticket. I'm going to beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, but except you're not.
So...
I books him weak. Samoa Joe should not be booked weak.
No.
That's not how you book Samoa Joe.
Mm-mm.
Anybody knows that. And
speaking of how you do not book this, since we pretty much talked about everything about that match. I mean, I hate to have to make short work of a Seth Rollins match or a Samoa Joe match, let alone one with both of them together. But that's really just like you couldn't ask me to care what's going on, and so I don't care with what's going on, even if the match itself is fairly decent, actually even above average.
It's more frightening than the House of Horrors match, though.
Yeah, we'll say that. We'll say that as much. I mean, I'll put it like this. If it weren't for the fact that I got a few laughs from the House of Horrors match,
there were a few, like the tractor.
Oh yeah,
the random tractor
and the try hard, like, ooh, aren't we being creepy?
Yeah.
If it weren't for that, all those little elements, then that would have been the worst match on the card. Mm-hmm. But at the very least, I will remember what happened there. I can't remember anything between these two.
I remember that Samoa Joe did this really cool like enziguri kick and
enziguri kick.
There was no muscle buster.
There was no muscle buster. I don't think he's ever.
There was no buckle bomb. He was going to.
He was going to try to, but like.
I did not want to really see Samoa Joe take a buckle bomb.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like the whole match was the story with trying to work.
To be honest.
Yeah, like the whole match is trying to tell the story with him and his right knee. And it's...
Oh, yeah. Also, it was one of those matches. Like
Yeah.
like when Shinsuke, you know, with the knee thing in NXT, it's just, you know, drawing out the injury. It was an injury match. Like, oh, God, you know, he's got to pull himself back up and everything.
You know, like, the problem with those kinds of matches, it just feels like it's a story that's being told over and over again. And sure, you could say that about a lot of wrestling matches, but...
We get it, he's injured.
We get it, he's injured, and... In this age where everyone's smart to it, it's asking a lot of us to think, oh, he can't do it because of his knee, even though we know his knee is perfectly fine. But, you know, we're prepared to make that disconnect, but to keep making that disconnect over and over and over again.
Got to pace it out.
Yeah, especially since that's now becoming the story of every single one of Seth Rollins' match. It's like, hey, you injured your knee once. Let's use it as a complete and utter, like, crutch, literally, for every match you've had, especially if you're a wrestling face. I almost kind of wish he went back to heel so that way he would stop having those kinds of, like, I'm injured, maybe.
He still won with the injury.
So it's just kind of, you can't really...
Which was even more even more bearing Samoa Joe.
I mean, like, I'll put it to you like this. I always put up with those kinds of booking decisions. I never liked those booking decisions. Even in WrestleMania 30, when Daniel Bryan has that shoulder, he wrestled with the shoulder, and I was fully on Daniel Bryan's side the whole goddamn time. I was not... He didn't need any kind of visual representation of his underdogness. He already was an underdog compared to every single one inside that ring. He didn't need, like, that, you know, the red badge of courage just to really kind of... Like, he's wrestling injured. You know, get those heartstrings a-plucking. You didn't need that. It's a story told as old as time as far as wrestling is concerned, and sometimes it works. But with Daniel Bryan, that's sort of like gilding the lily. And with Seth Rollins, it's just, yeah, I know he really injured his knee once. And I do know that he may have injured. I don't know how much of that was a work, how much of that was a shoot with that the Kimura lock, you know, destroying his knee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how much of that was a work and how much of that was a shoot, but I'm gonna guess that a good chunk of that was a work. There might have been like a minor sprain in his knee, I think, and then they made it worse than what it actually was, so that way, you know, they could have that little kernel of doubt of whether or not he was going to WrestleMania. But
and apparently no feud between Balor and him.
I know, so
That's a little weird.
Exactly. So, like, everything around Seth Rollins now is, like, keeping him from being what he should be.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to booking. Like, he has a great finisher, but then, you know, management takes it away. He tries to transition to another finisher, his finisher keeps injuring other people. So he tries to go to another finisher, and then, you know, he gets an injury. So it's like he is the most hard-luck, high-profile wrestler working today. Or at least with WWE.
Yeah.
The forces that be just will not let him wrestle. I know another guy in management who's suffering the exact same problem.
Yeah.
Well, before the evening was up, though, and after Seth Rollins took the win,
I mean,
who cares? Honestly, really.
Yeah.
We finally get Bray Wyatt back into the ring after, like, 4 minutes of him, like, again, sucking air and just fat guy walking to the ring. I'm sorry, but that's what he looked like.
It was pretty bad.
And then all this...
And they don't need to frame him that way. He's got these massive, you know, shoulders and guns and everything, but they just focused really hard on his gut.
So, you know, he has this, he's finally made it to the ring, and then all of a sudden Randy Orton appears behind him like, you know, he was... I don't know how. I guess a Viper can just strike at any time. And we have basically part 2 of the match where the Bollywood boys just come out of nowhere and just beat the crap out of Randy, and Jinder Mahal just cracks him over the head with the belt, and Bray steals the win.
House of Horrors!
That's how to book Bray strong. Cause him to capitalize a win off of interference he had nothing to do with.
Man.
So...
I'm so sorry, Bray.
Luke Harper isn't going to Raw, and I think Eric Rowan's still on SmackDown as well.
Bray, you got fucked. You got fucked.
That you did.
Yeah.
That you did. But I have to say, there were still some kernels of corn in that shit. I can't really call it the.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I saw it on a Monday Night Raw, I'd be like, wow, did you see that stupid, dumb thing?
Yeah, it was stupid,
Where
but
they,
it
like, wandered into some random guy's house and started wrestling each other.
Mm-hmm. The problem was it was stupid, but not stupid enough.
Yeah.
And we're just really kind of disappointed with the lack of stupidity. Weird to be sad about it, but that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
Now in comes the match, like the match that we were kind of dreading the most.
Yeah.
Whereas we didn't know quite what we were going to get with the House of Horrors match, even though that should have been like the biggest red flag of them all. We look at the main event card, Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman, and we're thinking, how are they going to, how are they going to make Superman look strong today?
Yep.
Well, they didn't. They just had him lose as clean as he possibly could.
Braun wins.
Braun wins.
Goes over Roman Reigns clean.
Goes over clean, although the announcers were burying Braun as much as they can by saying, well, the Roman wasn't at 100%. I mean, they're trying to cut,
Yeah, but that's
cut their knee.
That's what they're being told to do.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, they're cutting him off at the knees,
yeah.
Of course, with comments like that. And really, anything that happened in that match outside of Braun kicking out of Roman's spear, which I think only, I'm trying to think of like anyone else who kicked out of Roman's spear.
Well, I mean, the Undertaker kicked out of it a few times before he went down.
Mm-hmm. All right, Undertaker kicked out of it. Braun kicked out of it now, and I think Brock kicked out of it.
Yeah, Brock must have.
Yeah, Brock definitely kicked out of it. And I'm thinking, did AJ ever kick out of it? I don't think so. I don't think AJ ever kicked out of the spears. But the fact that he kicked out of it clean was,
it was nice to see.
And that was
Braun go over. I really was sure that it wasn't going to go that way, but the end they did the whole injury angle
well, I was thinking that Roman, like when he walked out with that ridiculous white shoulder, strap over his shoulder, that he was going to, like defeat the odds and become, and emerge victorious. But nobody
already has a protective vest, and pads, and it's just like the medical tape on top of that, or the bandaging is. How much more are you going to put on him? To protect poor little Reigns.
Does he want to actually try to wrestle in a complete SWAT outfit, complete with riot shield?
They did apparently have riot shields when the shield first came out, if I understand.
Mm-hmm.
That was the angle.
Back when they tried to turn them into an actual SWAT outfit, but then they kind of dialed it back and realized...
Yeah, he should get his, his protective wrestling headgear and his shield and just be like...
Why not? Like, let's. Why does he even have to wrestle anymore? Can't we have a whipping boy and just have him wrestle his matches for him? Let's $1 million man this shit. All right. Let's make him so rich that he could buy whatever championship he wants, and he creates.
He's like the Batman of the wrestling world. He just.
Oh yeah, it's just. I mean, like
he has all this technology to use and.
And he lives inside a mansion shaped like his own face.
And it's not disqualification. Well, what can I say? It's not like any other things are disqualifying match, like turning lights out or summoning maggots all over the ring
or earthworms or anything like that.
I mean, the House of... What were the stipulations to the House of Horrors? Just none?
There was none. There was no disqualification.
Like, what if they just never made it back to the ring?
I guess, it's the same answer I'd give to the question of, is Hornswoggle still in the 2007 Royal Rumble? To which I would say,
That's a good point. He is technically still...
So is Maven. Remember, Maven was, during the 2001 Royal Rumble, Undertaker did not pull him over the top rope. He just beat the holy crap out of him after pulling him out of the ring. He was never disqualified, so technically speaking... He's still in the 2001 Royal Rumble, him and Steve Austin. So, there you are.
I wonder if there's they should have like a battle royal for those people who are still...
Technically in the Royal Rumble. So we got a dwarf wrestler who is no longer with the company, a man who hasn't wrestled since 2002, and a bodyguard, a bouncer at a New York nightclub.
So I'd watch it.
Just to see Stone Cold literally punt Hornswoggle out of the ring.
We could have it on Sunday night.
We got to book Sunday Night Heat. It's going to make a return.
Get Taz back to announce it.
Oh, he kicked him in the yam bags.
The yam bags in the yam bags.
Yam bag. But
it just burns my yam bags.
This gimmick that they have Braun, where he's never quite done beating up Roman Reigns, is the most brilliant piece of booking they have ever had for a monster heel. I cannot think. I mean, like it's idiocy, because if they want him to be heel, no way do they have him go against Roman Reigns, because anyone who goes against Roman is immediately face.
And he does it again too. I'm not through with you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they did not stop at the pay-per-view. They just, Raw Talk, when they segmented into Raw Talk, where they had another instance of Roman Reigns trying to, get himself into the hospital, and then all of a sudden, I'm not finished with you, and then it took all of his effort to get out of the way, and fucking Braun Strowman tackles him through an ambulance door.
This is getting pretty out there. Like, he's gonna Roman Reigns on his, free time between on the road.
Like Roman's in the emergency room. He's hooked up to a ventilator. He looks up through his blurry vision. He sees a nurse outfit, and he's thinking fine. He's like, I'm not finished with you yet, and it cuts to Braun Strowman in a nurse outfit, a la the Joker from The Dark Knight, and he just starts walloping him right in the hospital bed. Takes the entire staff of orderlies and doctors to pull it off of him, and he got him out of the building. Cut to Roman, in physical therapy, like he's doing that whole, trying to walk on the stands, and he's almost at the end, and then all of a sudden you hear, I'm not finished with you yet, and then he comes crashing through the window, and he just chop blocks him right at the knees, and he topples over head over ass over tea kettle backwards, and he's laying in agony, and all of a sudden he starts stomping on him over and over and over again, and all of a sudden the SWAT team has to come in, pull him off him, and they use like fucking bear mace on him, it's the only thing that's capable of subduing him. So it cuts to Roman inside like an Iron Man suit, like he's been completely crippled to the point where he has to use cybernetic enhancements.
He's more machine than man.
Yeah, he's trying to get through, and he's like RoboCop. All he is like a spinal column and lungs and heart in his face. And every day he has to look at what Braun has done to him every time.
Man, this pay-per-view was boring.
I'm not through yet. I'm not finished with this yet. And he's crying because he's completely disfigured, and he has to look at himself, and that remains. And all of a sudden, his reflection becomes Braun's face. Is like, I'm not finished with you yet. And he lunges out of the mirror, and he fucking literally has him by
just like that sock of the Greens or whatever.
No, like they were stealing a puck from WCW when Hulk Hogan saw Ultimate Warrior in the mirror. He's in the mirror. He's in the mirror. Braun Strowman starts dropping elbows on his brain. And for some reason, I
think it's over. The bit's done.
It is not done. It is not done.
But like he grinds him up through a meat grinder and eats him and then shits him out and
soup time.
I'm not done with you, Roman.
And he like shits him out. He starts stamping the shit. Days turn into weeks, and months turn into years, as the soil by which has been fertilized by the Romans.
He grows like a lemon tree.
No, oddly enough, no, it wouldn't grow a lemon tree. It would grow narcissus flowers. It's the flowers that pool over into the limpid pools so they can see their own reflections. Except the flowers have little Roman faces inside, and they think for one final moment they may know peace. Then all of a sudden, and all of a sudden he takes a weed whacker to all the flowers. And Roman's face, in utter anguish, melts like confetti's colors down the drain, and he dissipates into nothingness. Somewhere out there, Vince McMahon looks at the moon, wonders where he went wrong. And he says, well, it's time to push his brother. Sorry, he died last week. Who was his brother again?
That's actually who was his brother? Yeah,
Rosie.
Apparently Rosie.
It was Rosie. Rosie. Yeah. Rest in peace.
I did not know that till tonight.
I don't really mean to make light of your. Didn't mean exactly to make light of your death, Roman. Death in your family, Roman. But you got to admit, it's kind of hard for us to feel sorry for you these days. It just kind of is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know.
That's smarmy. It's the smarmy face. It's just that face is so easy to hate.
Ironic. It's a lot of things.
Well, it's a lot of things, but if you had to look at one thing where
it's
you
the entrance music, it's the eternal smugness,
the internal smug,
bad mic skills, the bulletproof vest, the ballistic vest, never being able to get beyond the Shield stable. Mm-hmm.
I was surprised how far I was able to go with that. Honestly, I should have cut the mic at there. So, you know what? Let's just cut the mic right now.
Yeah.
Payback. Kind of want WWE to pay us back for having to sit through that. Swish. So, next one is Backlash. Well, at the very least, it's going to be another nothing pay-per-view. In fact, we had a Backlash last September. So
yeah, so
I mean, it's another non-gimmick show. So
but
hopefully
coming out of this, I'm, the bar is adequately low. Not terribly low, just adequate.
Just adequate enough. But
yeah.
And anyway, so
this is really hard to talk about.
As evidence,
so dull.
As evidenced by me just kind of trailing off.
Yeah.
So we have our front runner for the worst pay-per-view of the year, but I'm pretty damn skippy. It's going to have some competition. But until then, till next time. All right. It's just an hour 22.